we all agreed on that everybody kind of needs, because there's a lot of suspect companies out there.
Fantastic. And thank you, Jamie, for your chat there as well. Perfect. All right. So we're going to move on to our concentration. We have Javier Payan today, the president and CEO of Payan Pools. Payan is a native of East County, yay, East County, El Cajon Valley High School. He's been in business since 1987. He served as the regional director for the Independent Pool and Spa Association, currently serving on the advisory board of the International Pool and Spa Expo, and is currently the president of the San Diego County Association of Pool and Spa Professionals. Received the Community Lifesaver Award for work in drowning prevention, and is married to his lovely wife, Valerie, for almost 6 months. Without any further ado, I give you Javier Payan from Payan Pools.
Thank you, Vicki. Let's see, am I muted? Okay. Hey, I'm going to try to hit share screen. I got, let's see what we got here. Let me hold on one second here. How are we doing this? Share screen. Oops. Uh-oh. I'm not seeing my thing come up. Window. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Window application. Oh, where are you? Chrome tab. I'm not seeing my PowerPoint. Hey, Robert, can we load up that other one that I sent you? Oh, no, here it is. Here we go. Here we go. Is that on? Is that shared screen? Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Not yet.
Okay. Hey, Robert, can we go ahead and, I'm not sure. I can see it up on my monitor here, but I'm not sure. I'm clicking on it, but nothing's happening. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Hang on. Come on now. We got a plan B. Robert might have to jump into action. Hey, Robert, would you mind loading up that PowerPoint? I've got it up on my monitor here, but I can't get it to pull up. I'm on share screen. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see. How am I going to get out of here now? Okay, I got something weird going on here. Okay, I'll just go off of here. Let's see here. Hang on one second here. I'll get my setup over here. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity of doing this concentration, as well as being a member of this group. Go ahead and switch the slide, Robert. Oh, go back one. Okay, we'll just start there. That's fine. Let me jump over here. So I've got 2 daughters. This is Ellie and Tula. On the Bob's Burger one there over at WonderCom, my daughters are into, all kinds of good fun stuff. Oh, go backwards, Robert. There you go. And that's us in Anaheim dressing up as Bob's Burgers for any cartoon fans. Go to the next one. So on the left is my youngest daughter, Tula, and she's going to be 18 in another month. And what's cool is that she's starting to get into vinyl music, and we start having a lot of conversations about music. I'm an avid music lover as well too. So one of our favorite things to do is to go to a record store and hunting some albums. So on that picture, it's pretty cool because that Tommy album it's got the same colors as that graphic, but we bought that album for like $5, which was even cooler. So got some good deals. And on the right-hand side is my oldest daughter, Ellie. She's 21, and she's very artistic. I don't know how she did that pumpkin carving, but she's going to Grossmont College right now. I think she's going to get her associates this year. So she's super artistic. She just blows my mind with the different things that she does. All right, next one, Robert. And that's them. They actually, yesterday was my oldest daughter, Ellie, who's the shortest one there. They were both working at Baskin Robbins, and Ellie just, yesterday was her last day, and she's going to do some cake decorating, actually across the street at the Flower Power. And they both have a really good, strong work ethic. They both have done babysitting, and they're going to school. They've done athletics, the whole thing, and they keep super busy. right, next one.
Service.
So this is my better half, Valerie, and we've known each other about 5 or 6 years now. And next slide. She's got 3 daughters. So if Nick Torres, the accountant, does the math, that's a total of 5. And it's very rare we get them all together. All right, next one. And we have 2 fur babies. So the little guy is Milo, and that was Valerie's dog. And Jake was our dog, and he's probably about 11 years old. And if you guys ever watched the movie Step Brothers, it's exactly how they are, except the part where they say, "Did you touch my drums?" It's, "Did you touch my bone?" And they're either loving each other or just the big one. They just tease each other. It's the funniest thing. Okay, so when you have 5 daughters in the mix and they're all busy people, it's really hard to get everyone together at the same time. I mean, that's something I was looking for photos over the years. Like, rarely are we all together taking a photo. So what do? Next slide, Robert. You get married and there they all are right there. So now with 5 daughters in the mix, you can imagine there's very little that's going to rattle me. So bring it on, people. So, all right, next one. And that's our, so we just got married in October. So those were some of our wedding photos that we got. So going up April 10th will be our 6-month anniversary. So, all right, next one. So here we got, let me follow the slides over here. There we are. So I came up with the term caring for your California dream because, we've all heard that Simon Sinek book. It starts with why, and, especially like being in Vistage, you got to figure out, why you're doing things and all that fun stuff. And it can be kind of a grueling exercise, not the funnest thing to do. But as I thought about it, it's like, hey, that's what we do. We care for people's California dream. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, next one. So being in business since 1987, a lot of people think, well, what were you, like 2 years old? And I'm sorry. I was actually about 20, 21 years old in that time frame when I started my business. And so when I've done this presentation a couple times, the next photo that's coming up is the crowd favorite. So go ahead and hit it, Robert. There you go. So go back one. There you go. Yeah, just so you guys can enjoy that a little bit. So yeah, back then, again, 20, 21 years old when I started this business, and I knew everything and I was having fun and just gonna light the world on fire. And that was actually my sister who was, that was taken early in the morning. You can see she still got her, morning face on. I'm up and at 'em, caffeinated, ready to take on the world. And she's getting ready to go to her senior year in high school. And I used to have her handwrite on my invoices because I've got like the worst writing. And so she was actually one of my first bookkeepers and office employees. The next one. Okay, so what we do in a nutshell is, obviously we clean pools and, we fix pools and we do some pool renovations. So what I did on this presentation, I went ahead and got some slides and some pictures from all from this year. I think like a couple of them are like older pictures, but I just thought, hey, let's just do something fresh and let's just look at what we do. And on a daily basis, we're doing all kinds of different fun stuff here. So go to the next one, Robert, please. So on the next one. So on the pool cleaning side, that's kind of our geographical area. We pretty much all of San Diego County, and each one of those marks are service accounts that we have. Some of them might be clustered in there, but in the photos, our service manager, Rocky, and his role is to meet our service guys and organize the routes and sign on new customers and everything that goes with that. He does, and which is fantastic. Those of you that have good office managers know how valuable that is, and just what a blessing it is that, you know, I don't have to do that. So he's really meticulous and organized, and we're always doing tweaks and making sure, hey, if this guy does this one on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday, you know, it'll keep the mileage down. So he's always on it. So, all right, next one. So, and Robert, just go ahead and scroll through here. These are just different types of pools that we do. Just, you know, some are pretty basic, some are pretty elaborate, some are pretty normal. And we have a really good variety, which is kind of what I like. Keep going. Just to give you guys kind of idea. And it's kind of cool to, we're talking about the sunshine tax here. We get to work all over San Diego County and look at all these different types of pools, and it's pretty fun. Keeps us interested. Okay, keep going. There you go. Our next one, Robert. Okay, there you go. Hold it right there. So this is one of our trucks. San Diego helped do the graphics on that one for us. And the two guys on the right, we have Rocky on the far right, our service manager. Then we have an assistant service manager, Eric, who's there. And then Chris, our repair guy. And right next to me, there's my wife, Valerie. She's now working for our company as an office manager, which again is, when you have good managers, it just makes everything go good. Next slide. So in 2019, we received an award from Pool Spa Magazine of being listed as one of the top 50 pool companies in the country, which is a really cool honor. That was the second year they've ever done that. And that was something we're really proud of. And of course, we all work hard to keep that going. And the next one. And in 2020, we also made that list of top 20 pool companies. And we do that because, you know, we have a lot of community involvement, we have a lot of industry involvement, and we're on a national level. I've done a lot of things that kind of get us into those circles and really give our company a lot of exposure within the industry. So we're not just going out to clean pools; we're trying to make our industry better all the time, and it's really humbling to get that type of recognition when you're compared with every pool company that's filled out applications anyways in the country. And you know, there's a lot of great companies in Texas and Nebraska and New Jersey, and they're all different markets, but to be included in there is a really great honor for us. Okay, next one, Robert. Okay, on the pool repairs. So let's see, go ahead and go to the next one, Robert. Okay, so these are some of our repair guys. And the two guys on the left in front of the truck there, those two guys are what I consider master technicians. They deal with, you know, gas, electrical, high voltage, low voltage, plumbing, hydraulics, pumps, filters, heaters, automation systems, all that stuff. And to find someone with those skill sets is pretty rare and unique. And those guys are, I'm going to put them up with the best of the best. And the two guys on the far right, they're some of our masonry guys that do like tile work, coping work, or just anything we need them to do. They're just great hardworking guys. And Chris, in that solo photo there, he's the dispatcher. All the repairs go through him. So our service department's calling him to schedule repairs. Our customers are calling him, and nothing gets on the schedule till he says it gets on the schedule. And that's a really big juggling act. We on a daily basis, we're probably doing about 20 to 25 repair jobs a day. And that's jobs to schedule and get parts for, and the billing and the collections, all that stuff. So he does a great job for us. Next one, please. So this is like a standard equipment pad. And next one, Robert. So you have a pump there. Next, you have another pump. Go on, keep going, Robert. A filter, keep going. A salt chlorine generator. Next one, and a heater. So all that stuff we work on, and right there it just looks pretty vanilla and, you know, non-exciting. But all those things have to work for everything to work, and that system has an automation system on it as well. Let's go to the next slide. So let's talk about pool heaters for a second, because I mentioned my guys work on those. So most people don't heat their swimming pools, but they have pools and spas that are connected. So when they hit a button, the pump's got to turn, the valves has got to turn, the heater's got to turn on to temperature, and it's a 400,000 BTU appliance that has to work. And oftentimes people neglect them, and we try to go out on a regular basis and make available heater maintenance to our customers. So next one, Robert. So here you see where we open up a heater, and inside, if you can tell, there's some rat droppings in there, and rodents like to get in and build their own home, their California dream inside these heaters because they're safe from predators and, their life is good there. Go to the next slide. And in this case, when we got into the heater, there was some rats nesting that was developed in there. And as my guy, go to the next slide. So there you got a little critter living inside a heater. Next one, blow it up a little bit. There you go. So this is what we sometimes find inside appliances. And Joe, in Ideal Plumbing, I don't know if you see this in air conditioning condensers or what, but these little guys, they love chewing on wires. And as I mentioned before, they get in these little spaces and they're safe from predators and they just are hanging out, having little babies and chewing on wires. So oftentimes people will call to use their heater, let's say on a holiday weekend or a special occasion, things don't work and we show up, they're just, in some cases, really, really like just littered with nesting. Okay, next one. And then saltwater chlorine generator. So there's these systems that take salts, which is sodium chloride, and convert it to chlorine, which is sodium hypochlorite. And in order for that to happen, you have to have the right flow rates. The water chemistry has to be right. You have to have the right saline levels. And next slide, Robert. They also need to be maintained. So on the left, while this is not a really bad situation, they do build up scale inside because when they're producing chlorine, it's a very high pH type of chlorine, and it's going to tend to scale up. So sometimes that stuff scales up like a big chunk, and then these things aren't going to work. So inside on the clean cell, you can see those are some titanium plates that are powder coated in a ruthenium metal, and that all helps to kind of make that whole magic work. Okay, next one. And pool filters. Keep going. So a typical pool will have a filter or two and sometimes three, and they have to be cleaned and taken apart a couple times a year. And so if we service on average about 600 pools a week, every one of those pools has to have their filter cleaned. We recommend at least twice a year. Go to the next one, Robert. And that's like a dirty filter. Next. And you can see we're hosing them down, and you can see how much stuff accumulates in there. So basically, if the wind blows, all stuff gets in the pool. When it gets clean, it ends up in the filter. Next one. And there it is all put back together. And when we put them back together, we typically change the O-rings out so that we don't have any failures, during peak season. And okay, go to the next one, Robert. I was going to say with the filter cleanings, that's a lot of filters to keep up with in terms of the scheduling and the rotation. When were they last done? So this slide over here that we're seeing is an equipment pad that we're going to replace the filter, and that's going to be that big gray thing on the far right. And so on the picture, part of it's on the left, part of it's on the right. And where that arrow is, go to the next slide. Whoever installed that pump jammed it right up against a pipe. So that lid on there, it's like a flap that opens up, and like you can't even get to it, let alone read it. And so that's kind of like, not a cool installation. Next one, Robert. And so on top of that, there was all this crud in the equipment room. So we came in, we just completely washed out that equipment room. There was a little area drain right in the middle of all that plumbing, and it was backed up with just crud. So as it rained, as things accumulated, it just puddled up and the water was turning green. And so we hosed everything back off and cleaned it up before we put the filter back in. Go ahead, Robert, next one. And here you can see we put the filter in, and if you note between that pump and that filter, there's plenty of room to get into that little access panel for that pump, which has got like a computer on it. So here's a job where we could have just put a filter in and called it a day, but we took the time to clean the room out, adjust the plumbing so that it's left better than before. Okay, next one, Robert. Okay, this is an interesting job. So this guy, it kind of looks like he's milking a cow or some pipes or something like that. But this is the Navy housing in National City, and they have a pool on the 9th floor. So on the 8th floor is all the underground plumbing. And this job had a pipe that was leaking, which is kind of a rare situation. Go to the next slide, please. So this was on their spa, and their spa had multiple pumps. So the first thing we had to do is drain the spa so we don't dump it all on the 8th floor. But then once the spa is empty, we still have hundreds of gallons of water in the pipes. So we had to kind of put our heads together. So we put this bucket in there with a submersible pump, drilled a hole into the pipes, had it draining, And then we're able to finally, it took us about 30 minutes to drain all that water out, but we got it all out. And next slide, and fixed the pump. So what I have here for the show and tell, this was the pipe that was broken, kind of oversized, but you can see here, that was the sloppy repair that they had. So this glue joint had failed. So when we look inside, I don't know if you can tell, but the pipe wasn't fitted in all the way. I'm sorry. Oh, no audio. Hang on. You guys got me?
We can hear you, Javier.
Good, Javier.
Okay,
Somebody
good,
else
good.
has their phone.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so this was, if you look at all those pipes, just one fitting out of all that was incorrectly applied. Then over time, it leaked, and that's like that big leak. So this stuff, as Joe can attest, I'm sure Joe knows, this is hard stuff to work with because there's no movement out there. So, that was, I was on the job with my man Greg there, and we got it done. And so that was a really cool project to do that was kind of outside the normal scope, but we did it. Next one, please. Okay, so this is kind of, we were talking about these boxes earlier, so I'll kind of get into that. So that is what pool equipment looks like when it's frozen. So when you have a swimming pool and you're in a colder climate that, where it snows, in the pool business, you have to winterize all the equipment, which means you have got to drain the water down to a certain point, fill the tubing up with antifreeze, drain the water out of the equipment, and then wait out, the winter until springtime. So in Texas, they had that big deep freeze in February, and Texas is not a state that normally winterizes pools. So here you have a lot of pools, tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, in areas like Austin and Houston and Dallas, where you just had this deep freeze that caught. It's like if it snowed for 2 weeks in San Diego, that just doesn't happen. Evidently happens there like every 100 years or something. So one of the things that happens with like pool filters or pool equipment, the reason you drain water out is because when water freezes, it expands about 9%. So go to the next one. So that's a pool filter that had water in it. The freeze came. Now, normally when things get really cold, you can run the system to keep the water moving. But in addition to it freezing, the power also went out too, for as you guys all saw in the news. So that's what it did to a lot of filters. And next one. And that's what it did to a lot of plumbing. So now we're coming off of a COVID year where manufacturers were already struggling to keep up with production. Because like, for example, one manufacturer that manufactures pool heaters, they were cranking out 300 a day pre-COVID. Then during the pandemic, they had to limit the amount of people on their factory floors. So they went from 300 a day to 80 a day. So that was creating some shortages. So people were kind of getting beefed up to meet the demand. And this freeze came in. A lot of pools with a lot of equipment just broke. Plumbing, valves, filters, heaters, pumps, everything. So back here, what we have here is to try to stay ahead of it. We are stocking up on pool filters, pool pumps, pool heaters. We got orders coming in every day, and it's a tricky thing for us to manage because we're used to just going to the supply house, buying what we need, and then putting it in and off we go. But I will say right now we've got more pumps and filters than there are in distribution in San Diego County right now because we're prepping. And what the decision, or actually as a businessman, I'm thinking, well, what if we can't service our customers? What if I can't keep my guys busy because we have filters to replace? We just can't get them. So, we're starting in March, we started kind of beefing up. So now when a piece of equipment comes out here, we try to get it replaced as soon as possible. And that may take a week or two. So right now, I think we're sitting pretty good, but who knows? But with what we have, we're really just focused on taking care of our existing clients. So we're going to be very territorial about this stuff. Okay, next slide. Okay, then pool renovations. So this is kind of a fun thing for us to do. Keep going. I'll just keep going, Robert. So this is a pool renovation we did. Keep going. Kind of move it up a little bit here. And if you notice that light, it's got like a little blemish on it. Next slide, please. That light had this big, rotted something. So this was definitely leaking. Those things are 110 volts. So we were able to identify and repair. Next one. And there's the guys putting the tile on, all smiles, of course. Next one. The step trim, next one. Plaster guys coming in, next one. So after a pool gets plastered, one of the things that's unique here is that before we used to have a lot of calcium in the water. And when you fill up a brand new plastered pool with water, water needs a certain amount of calcium chloride, like calcium hardness, which is like about 200 parts per million. So if the water comes in at 100 parts per million and the water wants to be at 200, it'll pull calcium right out of the plaster mix. So next slide. So what we do is we actually pre-mix calcium into a barrel and treat the water before it goes in. Next one. To make sure everything comes out nice and neat and the way it's supposed to do it without any plaster problems, because we do see a lot of plaster problems. It usually has to do with the time of startup. Okay, next one. And just scroll through this slide because we're kind of short on time. Robert, this was a old customer that had someone else in for a while, and they just kind of like scaled up all the rocks. Just hold it right there. Go back. And so we came in and repainted them. There's a lot of prep work, and that project probably took about 6 or 7 days. But we do that type of work as well. Okay, next one. And this is a spa we're gonna do tile and coping on. Keep going. Next one. And one of the things as small business people, we're under a lot of stress sometimes, and nothing relieves stress like putting a jackhammer in your hands and having a couple hours just to demo things. So it was pretty cool. Next one, and keep going. Keep going. Put the coping on, the tile goes on. Next one. Cleaned it up. Next one. And that's what it looked like when it was all done. So this spa just had a lot of chemical damage, and it was really stained and all that good fun stuff. Okay, next one. Okay, so I'll just kind of set this up and Robert scroll through this job really quick. So this was 2 sides of their side yard where they wanted access to it, but there's all this equipment in the way. So they wanted everything moved over. That's all the plumbing, all the electrical, all the gas line, all that good fun stuff. And we did that in January, setting things up. And when we move plumbing like that, we have to hold it right there. We have to put a gauge on it just to make sure that the pipes hold pressure. Okay, next one, Robert. Oh, and that one, when we bought that pipe in January at the Home Depot in Mira Mesa, those were the last 4 pieces of schedule 40 3/4 inch conduit that that was available at all the Home Depots in San Diego County. Okay, keep going. Next. Okay, then I went back out. Go back one. You can see where the turf is. They were able to open up that whole area because they have young kids that play soccer. And on the other side of the fence is all the equipment. Everything's all automated. We gave them a phone remote that they can turn things on with that. So really cool. Okay, next one. All right, so back to Karen for your California dream. Next one, please. So this is kind of what it's all about. So, you know, people work really hard to have a home in San Diego, or a home with a swimming pool for this matter. And we recognize that that's an accomplishment. And people really don't want to deal with all the inner workings and the mechanical parts of the pools. They just want to enjoy them. And next one, Robert. And so really that's kind of where we come in. You know, our job is to know the ins and outs of all the equipment, what works, what doesn't, what's applicable to them, what's not. And, you know, we want to help people. We want to be professional, and we want to try to be the best. Okay, next one. All right. So we'll get some questions in a second, but to concentrate, next one. We would appreciate if you guys have dealt with this before, you know, of course, a review on Google. The BBB has got a review site as well, and Yelp. Those things, they help us a lot, and we certainly appreciate it. So if you guys have the time, we'd appreciate it. Okay, next slide. And next one. And we'll just kind of hold it right there. So I mentioned before just what an honor and a privilege it is to be in this organization, and having served as our president a couple years ago. I mean, I never took it lightly whatsoever. 1 minute. And these are just a short list of all the companies that we do business with, or have done business with, or whatnot. And I always say that it's not so much that we're focused on getting business from people. It's the other way around. Is I've personally benefited from all these relationships with all of you. And I just am humbled that that we're included in this prestigious organization, and it's kind of what greases our wheels here. And everything that we do, from you name it, it's the printer, the insurance, the banking, anything, it's all execs members. So we really appreciate it. So with that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take some.